Standing to be counted in the face of evil, I'm Brian Lilley with TheRebel.media. When we say never again, do we mean it? I do. Unfortunately, not everyone actually does believe it. Currently, the world is facing a threat from a group that is butchering anyone that is different from them, anyone that disagrees with them, anyone that doesn't follow their strict view of Islam and Sharia. The world, or at least part of the world, especially the free world, is standing up and saying, no, not again. We won't let you murder and butcher people because they are of a different religious group, a different ethnic group, because they live differently than you see fit. We've seen this too many times, from the Holocaust to the Armenian genocide, Rwanda to Sudan. And often the world has stood there, silent, or they've waited too long to act. And because of that, we have said, never again. So with the rise of ISIS or ISIL, their sweep across large parts of Iraq and Syria, their targeting of anyone not just like them, the world actually took action and stood up. Canada is part of a large coalition of countries that is bombing Islamic State positions and helping to train Kurdish and Iraqi fighters to take the ground game to ISIS. The United States, Britain, Australia, all traditional allies are part of the campaign against ISIS, but so are Bahrain, Egypt, Jordan, and Kuwait, among many other countries. So what does the man who would be Prime Minister say about all of this? He says, well, he'd pull Canada's planes home.
Yes, we'd move away from the CF-15 mission to engage Canada's military, and something that we've actually demonstrated a tremendous ability at in Afghanistan and elsewhere.
That was Justin Trudeau on CBC's Power and Politics. Well, good on host Terry Molesky for pushing the Liberal leader and asking, well, under what conditions would you fight? Listen to Trudeau dismiss the question.
But if you don't want to bomb a group as ghastly as ISIS, when would you ever support real military action as opposed to just training?
Terry, that's a nonsensical question.
Uncharacteristically, Molesky let that dismissal stand. It's not the first time Trudeau's basically said he would not fight ISIS. He did the same thing when interviewed on radio in London by my friend and fellow rebel Andrew Lawton.
This is going to be a very long challenge against ISIS, and Canada's role in engaging with that needs to be best suited to what we can do better than other countries, and on humanitarian support, on refugee support, on military missions that are non-combat.
Trudeau doesn't see Canada having a role in fighting a group that is more barbaric than anything I've seen in my lifetime. He's happy to say never again when the right anniversary comes along, but I don't think he means it. Earlier this year, for the Holocaust Remembrance Day, he issued a statement that said this: on behalf of the Liberal Party of Canada and our parliamentary caucus, I reaffirm our steadfast commitment to never again allow atrocities like the Holocaust to occur. A year earlier, to mark the same occasion, he issued a statement and said this: while this day is a time for solemn remembrance, it is also an essential opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to never again allow such horrors to occur. In spite of everything we have come to learn of the Holocaust, we as a society must never stop working to educate others and combat hatred and bigotry in all its forms. And then just this past April, Trudeau said this about the Armenian genocide: while the 100th anniversary of the Armenian genocide is a time for solemn remembrance, it also provides us with the opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to never again be indifferent to hatred and genocide, nor remain silent to those who discriminate against others based on characteristics such as race, gender, or sexual orientation. Either he didn't mean it, or he doesn't know that ISIS likes to throw gays and lesbians off of rooftops. Either he didn't mean it, or he doesn't know that Yazidi and Christian women under ISIS territory are sold as sex slaves. Either he didn't mean it, or he doesn't know that Yazidis, Christians, and Muslims that hold a different view of how their faith tells them to live have been killed for refusing to submit to the will of ISIS. But he does know. He knows all of this. Why then is he acting like this? Is it that he doesn't care? No, I'm not going to say that. I think this is all about politics. Trudeau would claim that he's not taking Canada out of the fight completely. He just wants us to have a different role. Remember, he famously called for us to send winter survival gear, as if that would be a suitable role in the face of genocide.
Whether it's our expertise around humanitarian aid and around refugee status. There's a lot of people, refugees, displaced peoples fleeing violence, who are facing a very, very cold winter in the mountains. If something Canada has expertise on, is how to face a winter in the mountains with the right kind of equipment.
Now he says Canadian troops, well, they can be involved in training local forces just as long as it is very far away from the fight. Is that the right response? Is that the right response to a group that just released videos of them drowning captives by locking them in a cage and then lowering them into a giant pool? Is that the right response to a group that also just released another video of men being strapped into a car and then a rocket-propelled grenade launched into it, the men burning to death, their cries heard on video? Is that the right response to a group that crucifies and beheads its opponents, including 2 children this week caught eating during the fasting period of Ramadan? I'd say no. I'd say it's not enough. Trudeau calls the current government's decision to send massive amounts of humanitarian aid to the region, but also join the coalition with our allies, the easy solution, and one that he won't fall into. Let me say this, there is nothing easy about making the decision to send people, your own soldiers into harm's way. The easy solution is to do nothing, to sit back and say, hey, not my problem. While a town of 50,000 Christians, a town that has been there for millennia, is emptied out in a religious cleansing. The easy solution is to do the bare minimum, to not take any risk. And that's what Trudeau is offering. And when you do that, your claims of never again ring hollow because they mean nothing, because you will not back up your words with actions. We don't need to engage in every fight, in every hotspot around the world. I agree, the Libya mission was a mistake. I said so at the time. It turned out badly. I have no interest in Canada getting involved in nation building or settling the Syrian civil war. But if we cannot stand firm and stand tall against the atrocities of ISIS, then any claim, any utterance of never again is a lie. We can't afford that lie. The world can't afford that lie. There are lives on the line. Never again means now.